Password spraying is what happens when your worst password choice comes back years later, wearing a battering ram. You can have policies, firewalls, even multi-factor in some places, and still lose because of one lazy word you typed in a hurry on a boring Tuesday. Imagine this. First thing in the morning, you sit down at your desk, open the company login page, and type the same familiar password your hands know better than your mind. Across the world, someone you'll never meet is doing the same thing in reverse, feeding that same password into thousands of usernames slowly, carefully, waiting for one quiet welcome back to appear. When it does, nobody sees an explosion. No alarms. Just one more successful login buried inside normal traffic. From there, your name, your access, your position inside the company becomes their costume. Stay with me, because later I'll show you the one login pattern that almost always means someone has been spraying passwords against your account. How this attack breaks in. Password spraying is not random guessing. It's disciplined laziness used as a weapon. Instead of hammering one account with thousands of passwords, the attacker flips the strategy. They pick a tiny set of extremely common passwords and spray them across a huge list of usernames. That's what makes it different from most attacks you ever heard of. Imagine a login portal for your company, your university, or your favorite cloud service. Somewhere else, an attacker loads a list of thousands of known email addresses into a script, pairs them with a handful of predictable choices like variations of password 123, the company name plus a number, or the current season and year, and lets it drip requests into the system at a pace just slow enough to stay under the radar. The vulnerability isn't a missing patch, it's predictability. Systems that lock accounts after too many attempts on a single user don't trigger, because each account only sees one or two tries. The authentication service does exactly what it's meant to. It checks the credentials and either nods or shakes its head. All the attacker needs is one nod, one overlooked account that still uses a textbook password. The twist is simple and cruel. The weakest password in the entire organization doesn't just endanger that person. It hands over a foothold into everything connected to them. Your login page didn't fail. Your routine did the work for them. What attackers do once they're inside. When a password spraying attack hits, the first valid login is treated like a proof of concept. To the attacker, it's confirmation that the door opens with almost no effort. Maybe they land in what looks like a low-level account, a shared mailbox, a receptionist login, an old test user nobody remembers. That's fine. They start with reconnaissance, reading internal emails, learning naming conventions, mapping who talks to whom, discovering which systems are tied to single sign-on. They check what that account can access by default: intranet portals, file shares, ticketing tools, HR dashboards. They look for ways to reset other people's credentials or request higher privileges without raising suspicion. And here's the part that should bother you. They don't need you to be sloppy today. They just need you to have chosen a common password at some point in the past, like almost everyone under pressure eventually does. Once they understand the environment, they escalate. They might set forwarding rules on email to watch conversations. They may send convincing internal phishing messages from the compromised account, harvesting even more passwords as colleagues trust the sender. They can use that one foothold to pivot toward finance systems, source code repos, or customer data. Over time, the organization's identity becomes something they can steer from the shadows, all from a login that looked perfectly ordinary in the logs. The signs and how to stop it. Password spraying leaves fingerprints that look like noise until you know what to look for. At the individual level, you might start seeing security emails from different services. Someone tried to sign into your account from IPs and locations that mean nothing to you. You might notice your account temporarily locking even though you're sure you typed your password correctly. For admins and defenders, the pattern is clearer. Waves of failed logins across many users at roughly the same time, often all trying a couple of common passwords, followed by a small number of successes that look legitimate. Accounts that rarely log in suddenly show activity from unfamiliar locations or devices. And the tip I promised you, the pattern that almost always screams password spraying, is this: an unusually broad spread of failed login attempts across many accounts, each only one or two tries deep, followed by a quiet trickle of new successful logins from odd IPs on accounts that never had issues before. That's not one person fumbling a password. That's a systematic spray looking for the first crack. Stopping it means attacking the idea that normal passwords are safe. For people, that starts with unique passphrases instead of clever-looking but common patterns. No more season year or company 1 recycled everywhere. Use a password manager so you never have to reuse anything at all. For organizations, enforce strong password policies that ban the usual suspects outright and monitor for fraud. Low-frequency failed attempts across many users, not just brute force on one. Tighten rate limiting at the identity provider level so large-scale sprays become expensive and noisy. Disable legacy authentication protocols that ignore modern protections, and pair all of that with multi-factor methods that resist basic credential theft, preferably ones bound to hardware tokens or secure apps instead of easily phished codes. Even one habit change, like refusing to ever use a single word plus a number as a password again, can turn you from the perfect target into the account that never lines up with the attacker's word list. Password sprayers don't want a challenge. They want the comfort of knowing that somewhere, in a sea of accounts, someone picked the obvious choice. They want your login form to greet them as if they were you, simply because you followed the same tired pattern thousands of other people follow. But when you break that pattern, when your organization refuses to let the weakest password define the strongest risks, you deny them the easy win they depend on. Let their scripts churn. Let their lists run dry. Let them hit wall after wall of passwords they never thought you'd bother to create. Stay aware, stay protected, and I will see you in the next video.